Welcome to another episode of Chef Knives to Go Quick Look Product Reviews. I'm Steve Gamache, and what we have this time is the Kohetsu VG5 Tsuchime Gyuto 180mm knife. We'll unpack all that. But the core steel is VG5 full stainless steel, and the heat treat rating's about 60 Rockwell on there, so not too hard, not too soft. The construction is a 3-layer sandwich with a soft stainless cladding on either side of that core steel. And the cladding line is pretty faint. I'll see if I can show it to you, but with the lighting and stuff, it's a little hard because this is a fairly shiny finish on this knife. But there is a cladding layer on each side, and so it's an all stainless knife. The weight on the knife, 5.7 ounces, 162 grams. And these have a little bit of heft because they're Western handles and full tang. We'll take a look at that. The edge length is about 182 millimeters, or a little over 7 inches. And the overall knife length, about 300 millimeters, or a little under 12 inches. The spine thickness, these are pretty thin knives, coming out of the bolster is about 1.9 millimeter, and then it pretty much holds that most of the way into the last inch and a half or so where it thins down. And then these get pretty thin at the very, very tip, so they've got a nice grind to them. Blade height is 43.25 millimeters. And then the handles are your pretty standard black Packawood, which is a stabilized wood product. And we'll take a close-up look, but fit and finish is nice on this knife. Here is a look at the blade. As you can see, it's fairly shiny. Sorry, trying to get the focus right here. There we go. And the Kohetsu line, pretty standard for them. They've got kind of a polished final contour to the curve of the surface or the geometry of the knife. So they contour that down into the edge. So you'll see some polished areas. And they primarily do that on the right side of the blade. So again, that's contoured down into the actual edge, and then the edge bevel itself is there. The left side of the blade has a little bit of that, depending on where they decide they want to thin it out towards the edge, but the right side has more thinning. So nothing wrong with that. It's just kind of their standard practice on this line of knives. The finish, the Tsuchime finish is like a pebbled or hammered finish, and so you've got some light hammering marks on here. It's not a deep hammering like on some lines of knives, like the Anru Blue No. 2 hammered, for example, but it is there, and it adds some interest and texture to it. Right side of the blade, you've got screened on kanji, and left side of the blade is plain. Fit and finish is nice. They've relieved the spine just a little bit, the choil a bit, so it's real comfortable. Out of the box edge on this was quite good. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. You might be able to clean it up and get it, a little bit cleaner bevel on it, but for an out of the box edge, this is pretty sharp. Fit and finish on the handle is excellent. It's full tang construction, so it does have some weight to it. Being a shorter blade, the balance point's about right there, right on just on the beginning of the bolster. And so it's a typical Kohetsu handle, Western or Yo handle, where it's a little bit less rounded. It's a little more boxy in terms of where the flats of the handle slabs curve. They don't really curve in so much as just kind of hit a corner and go. It's not uncomfortable by any means. It's just a little bit less round than some brands like, let's say, the Takamura Yo handles. So it's just typical Kohetsu handle. It's comfortable, but just has that kind of feel, just for reference for you. Real smooth fit and finish on everything. Let's see. Let's take a look at the cutting board profile. So this is an all stainless blade. This might make an excellent line knife. So instead of a less tall, maybe a 150 petty, this will give you some board clearance, but it's not too long and not too tall. So kind of small, nimble, might let you get a lot of work done on the line. Or if you just like smaller knives in general. What's nice is the handle's not too small. It's not a tiny handle, so if you like a little bit of decent size to your handle, but you want a line knife, this could fit the bill. So here's your profile. Really a pretty nicely ground profile. You've got a bit of a blade flat on the rear, really a fair amount, and then kind of a little bit of more aggressive belly towards the tip. So this still rocks pretty well, but yet you've got a little bit of a flat towards the back. So they've done a whole lot with 180 millimeters. It's a nice profile. These are thin at the edge, so performance should be excellent. They get pretty thin at the tip. Again, overall it's a thin blade, and then you can see the grind gets real nice at the tip out there. So just an interesting line of knives. So another cool offering from the Kohetsu line from Chef Knives to Go. This is the Kohetsu VG5 Tsuchime or hammered Gyuto 180mm knife.